Hello everyone and welcome to the FACEIT CSGO League. We're at Stage 3. I'm your host Richard Lewis, and joining me as always on FACEIT is of course the people who are the face of the brand. It is DDK and James Bardolph. Now, just before we get into the show, obviously I'm sure a lot of you will be aware about the tragic events over in Paris that occurred last night after our broadcast. Usually we don't sort of try and politicize gaming or anything like that. However, I think in such extreme circumstances, some words of support and encouragement for all of our friends over in France, and particularly Paris, is appropriate. So naturally, from all of FACEIT and from myself, Richard Lewis, all of our thoughts are with you during this difficult time. Anyway, we shall move on with the broadcast, and we've got a feast of Counter-Strike ahead of us today. Some great games, but just before we get into that, I thought we can maybe do a little bit of a recap about yesterday's games, where we saw 3 Virtus.pro matches, and Virtus.pro conspired to lose 2 of them, which I thought was pretty surprising.
Indeed. The good thing for them is that they have a lot of games left, so they still can recover, and they're definitely still in with a chance of qualifying. Again, it's I think that this stage and the last stage at least, there's always been a lot of Virtus.pro games left at the end, for whatever reason. I think they stagger their holidays as opposed to taking them at the same time, which causes problems for their schedules. So I don't know if they'll be feeling the pressure just yet. You know, unless something catastrophic happens, then I think they're in with a good chance of qualifying for the final, but maybe not with the superior seeds at the top of the table.
And of course, they did get a win over Envious, who have all but secured their position, but Envious were using a stand-in. So Dan, your thoughts about yesterday's matches?
Yesterday, I mean, we saw a few cool things. Of course, G2 with the new member AZ, which was quite fun. He seemed to fit in quite well. That was exciting. And of course, there's a G2 match today, which we can look forward to. But also, Fnatic, they looked definitely a little bit not necessarily weaker, but it's too early to tell. But it's interesting to start taking note of how Dennis is playing within the team. But as far as Virtus.pro go, it's we're starting to see a lot of, well, not necessarily a lot of role changes, but we're starting to see Neo in more of a upfront kind of role, doing the things that Neo should be doing, which is kind of just basically AWPing everybody, and he's doing it quite well. So it's quite cool. And we saw also that the standings are quite wide open at the moment. So I mean, there are some teams that can, like Titan, for example, if they win all their remaining matches, it is actually possible for them, even though they're at the bottom of the table, to actually come through. And with only a couple of days left to play, it's well, who knows? I mean, maybe Titan would have fixed something. Maybe, I mean, it's hard to say that they could do that overnight, but still.
Yeah, still everything to play for. Now, I think at this juncture we do take a look at the games we've got coming up. Is that correct? Yes, James is nodding. See, he's the boss. I take my cues from him. And you can see here another feast of Counter-Strike here at FACEIT. So G2 Esports versus Virtus.pro. It's a repeat of yesterday, but this time it's going to be on Cash. And, of course, G2 Esports overcome Virtus.pro yesterday. Titan versus Virtus.pro. That's Titan, the bargain basement team. Even HellRaisers are above them. Currently, they're going to be going up against Virtus.pro. Then HellRaisers versus Titan in a bargain basement battle before we end the broadcast with Virtus.pro versus Fnatic. So just a wonderful series of games, and all very significant in their own way.
Well, I'm looking forward to G2 versus Pro on Cash, because obviously G2 continue to be not so much a thorn in the side as a giant spear in the side of Virtus.pro, and Cash is a map where they notoriously 16-0 them at Trimac Valencia as a wildcard entry into the tournament. So we'll see. You have to wonder if there is some trepidation there. But again, Virtus.pro would have had 2 vetoes against G2 for G2 to pick from the remaining 5. That's how our home and away system works, because G2 are the home team in that match, which makes you wonder what Virtus.pro vetoed to allow Cash to go through. But then maybe, you know, maybe they see it as a fluke. You know, they're not going to get 16-0 every time they play G2. No,
but they obviously lost Cash. I think yesterday as well, didn't they? Virtus.pro didn't they play Cash yesterday? I think they got 16. I think they got beaten Cash. No, sorry, I'm thinking of the other league. I'm thinking of the other league.
What other league, Richard?
It doesn't matter. We won't mention that. But anyway, yeah, there was a 16-4 result by Dignitas against Virtus.pro on Cash, with Dignitas' new look lineup. So I think Virtus.pro still have their problems on Cash, and I think letting it through against G2 Esports, where Makalele at the major famously said, he goes, "We like playing against them. We understand their style. We are a good match for it." So I think that's a very intense game to sort of start the show off. Dan, any thoughts to add?
Well, one of the games I'm looking forward to is the HellRaisers one, because HellRaisers, of course, they drop simple, but they kind of reinforce the lineup and change things dramatically. I mean, Angel and Kucha are still there, but you got the 1-2 combo of Oscar and Stiko, And Oscar and Stico are both very, very good players, and surprisingly so. They kind of almost, to most of us who follow maybe just the top tier Counter-Strike, they kind of came out of nowhere. Of course, we saw Oscar rise through FPL, but generally speaking, that combination seems almost kind of Olofmeister Krims-esque, actually. So I'm quite curious to see how that develops. But of course, they don't have a stable fifth just yet. I believe they're using Schneider for their matches at the moment. So we'll have to see how that works out. But that's a bit of a crazy. I mean, I know he's a mercenary and you can kind of put him in any team, but I'm not sure how that's going to work out for them. So I'm quite curious to see how they play today against Titan.
Yeah, no, I did hear the producer in my ear there, which means I have to do something at this point. But you're very quiet, Reese. So if you can just. There we go. He's just going to double check if Schneider's actually playing, but I know they have been using him lately, and that might even be with a view to a permanent deal, actually. So I'm told by my little birds, which are like Varus from Game of Thrones.
I was about to say, yeah.
I have everywhere, of course. Do we keep talking about the games now, or should we go to an alpha draft thing? I want to see what we did yesterday.
I think producer Reese should call the shots, so the stream can hear him as well.
Okay, yeah, excellent.
So he can just tell you what to do.
Yeah, tell me what to do, Reese. Bully me.
Sit here.
Bully me.
We're going to head into Alpha Draft now.
There we go. We are going to head into Alpha Draft. Now, for those that didn't watch yesterday, we actually made a bit of a gimmicky pick. We picked 5 AWPers, 6 AWPers, I think it was actually in total, right, with the substitute?
Essentially, yeah.
So we wanted to see how that would do, and it turned out it was working very well for us. Everybody we picked seemed to have a good game. Ali had a good game. Neo had a good game. So we get to take a look at that now and see how we've done. And, of course, we have to make picks for today as well.
Yeah, I do wonder how we did yesterday.
Yeah, I think that's hugely important to me personally. I've been up all night worrying about this.
On a quick side note, we had a Twitter giveaway for the pin code for this Guardian Elite little badge, which has been given away now. So for those of you who are retweeting it, just to let you know, you can see on the FACEIT Twitter. I tried to do it on my own one, but I didn't get 2,000 retweets. So I did it on the FACEIT one, and of course they've doubled the followers. So we finally gave it away. Anyway, Alpha Draft.
Yeah.
I have no idea what Reese just said.
Yeah, I think he said something about today's matches are listed in our previous matches. They're not listed, apparently. So what does that mean?
Yesterday's matches, but I'm sure we're picking for today's
Yeah,
matches,
we'll just have to pick for today then, I guess. So we're never going to know about this AWPing. Come on, Reese. Get it together. You're making me look bad here. And I need the money. I have to get another job.
He's probably on a different website.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
We won't speculate on what, though.
Can I? So anyway, here we go. So what's the thought process about picking today? Obviously, you can see the matches at the top there that we've got.
We've got 3 Virtus.pros.
Yeah, so obviously a solid pick there. Now, one thing I did notice, there were some features about Virtus.pro's play yesterday that I didn't notice. First of all, I thought Neo played very well. But then again, so did Taz. Taz seemed to be in really good form, and it's not all the time you can say that about his online play. And actually, I thought Snacks was kind of a little bit of a... Yeah, he wasn't up to his usual high standards yesterday.
I think Taz, if I remember correctly, had a slow start on Train versus G2, but then he got into his gear eventually.
Yep.
So,
yeah, Bialy and Neo for me were the two standouts.
Should we do a gimmick today? Should we just pick old people?
Old people.
Sounds good to me.
I mean, that means you're going to end up with all of Virtus.pro, I think. Because obviously Taz and Neo are old.
I think the max we can pick is 3 from one team.
Yeah, and Pasha's kind of old. Not in a bad way.
All right, let's do
He's
that
looked
then.
after himself better than
Neo, Taz,
better
Pasha,
than
let's
me.
go.
Okay, so let's. Is Existence old? Not with that haircut, surely. So
RPK's older, I'm sure.
Yeah, RPK must be getting on in years. So
Let's get the RPK.
yeah,
in
let's get the tank in there.
This is an expensive. Well, we've only got 2 players left to select. So.
Yeah, so I think we can do this.
Oh, okay. Where's... this is actually kind of annoying. Can we get Stico? Is that possible?
No, but yeah, if we take Kusha. There we go, and then
Angel, done.
yeah, there we go.
Screw you, Dan.
Oh no.
You did completely ignore our gimmick, but there we go.
It's all right. It's okay. It still works.
True.
We're just branding them as old now. We're labeling them as old people, which is fine. So yeah, obviously you guys can have a go on that as well, and don't pick like us.
So do we know if we actually won any money yesterday or not?
Well,
I'm wondering. Juice Reese doesn't seem to know.
I know. It was like I came in and I was like, Reese.
He's probably taken the money, Richard. You got to get on it.
Yeah.
You got to get on the case. Oh, okay. So we have no idea. But we're going to go to into the unicorns, I think.
Terrible. Anyway, yeah, let's get into the unicorn.
Oh,
These are
yes.
the daily quests. Now, here we go. It's another League of Legends trivia question, James. And I'm going to tell you right off the bat, once again, depressingly, I know the answer to this one.
Ezreal's there. It must be Ezreal because I don't know.
You say that to every question.
When Ezreal's there, I do, yeah.
Yeah, what's wrong
But
with you?
I think I've seen Darius before.
Didn't you say the answer to this earlier by accident?
It wasn't by accident. Someone asked me the question.
Yeah, but you're talking about League about 30 minutes ago.
Yes, yes.
Wasn't it about this one as well?
It may or may not have been.
Yeah, so, okay, then
So you know the answer then?
I think so.
Well, in fairness...
Does Dan ever truly know anything?
We have to get it right this time in order to make a bet because I blew all our coins on...
Yeah, you absolutely did.
I thought I heard you
complexity.
say Darius, so I don't know.
Right, Richard Lewis, what's the answer?
Well, quite obviously and quite depressingly, it is Darius, yeah. So there we are.
Okay, so we've got some coins.
Yep.
We've got 10 coins, guys.
So, it's, as I said, I'm upset that I can't remember academic texts and things like this so I can sound clever in arguments, but I can tell you almost all of League of Legends lore, despite having never read it.
That is
It's
uncanny.
really upsetting, isn't
Uncanny.
it?
Okay, so Virtus.pro are a dog against gamers too. I think we should bet on Virtus.pro in that match. Because yes, they do bad.
G2 on cash?
Yes, they do bad against them, but they're surely not going to do bad every single time. At some point they're going to have to win.
Have you ever heard the phrase bogey team?
Yes, and
Okay.
I did say that they're like kryptonite to them.
And now you're going to bet on them. You're going to bet the farm on them, James.
We've got to gamble, man.
I like that farm.
We've got to go all in. Mate, the farm's gone. The farm's gone. The keys are on the table, and we're all in. That's how it goes, mate.
Just want to say this is how we got into this position, James.
Yeah, I know. Dan, can you be a bit more assertive?
It's the only way to get us out.
He just gets so excited, you know. It's hard to do. I don't want to disappoint him.
Can I ask you a personal question, James? Do you have lots of debt in real life? Because when you say things like, no, the only way to get out of the hole that I've dug us in is to keep gambling, keep betting. I do worry about you.
I've stopped opening cases.
That's the start, I guess. Let's leave it at that. So let's look at some of the prizes that we can, well, not us, obviously, because James is going to doom us all, but what you might be able to win.
Well, we've got the coins in the fan. Well, not coins literally in the fan. That wouldn't be a good
that
idea,
that would wreck it. That would break it.
It would.
But even I'm technologically advanced enough to know that.
We've got the coins around the fan, let's say.
Yeah, but I mean, we've got a 1% chance.
We've got far less than that, I'm sure.
Far less now?
Maybe we should have put our coins in there.
No, now we've got 0%.
So we've got somewhere between 0 and 1.
Yeah, it was on 1, so it was.
It's even FACEIT coloured. It's even FACEIT coloured.
Well, put some. Well, we better win.
Actually, yeah.
We better win. We need to put some more coins
we
in.
actually need to put a caller in one of our machines. So when does this end?
Just out of interest, given that this is obviously a promotion,
right?
What would happen if you won it, the prize? Do we just give it away?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Just
we
making
won
sure.
this. Great. Let's go. Use it.
Oh no, we only had a 0.2% chance of winning, but mysteriously we've got it, and it's FACEIT colours.
Just take it home, of course.
Yeah. Well, I've seen people do it. You'd be amazed.
No, we did say like as soon as we first did this, anything we win from unicoins, etc., will be re-raffled onto the stream. Speaking of which, we're going to be giving away cobblestone cases after every match today and tomorrow as well. So far, we've given away many Scar 20s, P90 Storms, and other crap.
Not a Dragon Law.
Not a Dragon Law, no.
Not yet.
No.
Not yet.
We have.
I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to seeing which Twitch bot gets the case today. I can't wait.
Yeah, who knows? Interesting. more dodgy giveaways. Interestingly, for 675k followers, both knives are yet unclaimed. So if they're still not claimed by in a week's time, then
People
will be up for raffle
knives.
again. Yeah, it happens sometimes. It's really surprising when a subscriber doesn't claim a knife. Because
crazy.
But then hopefully they'll be back for the next stream and we can hopefully produce a can spot them and poke them. But for the non-subscribers, sometimes they just enter and then just tune out.
But do they get an email? Does it send them an email or is it just on the Twitch?
It's just in a Twitch thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, they should be paying attention to the.
No, I agree. I think
the end of the raffle to see if they win.
You don't go to a car boot sale, which is something my generation obviously used to have. Maybe kids don't know them. That's what we used to do for entertainment. And we would go there, and you don't enter into a raffle, or dare I even say a tombola.
Tombola, yes.
and you just walk away. I'm off home now. You stick around and wait. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Forget those guys.
Let us not forget the Razer promotion, which is being done for the German territory at the moment. So we have the Razer Kraken Pro in black, which I think it's 20 euros off.
20 euros off, yes.
Indeed. You have the tournament edition
In
Chroma as well, which is
24 euros off that one.
Indeed, you have a good memory, Mr. Lewis.
Not bad for an old man.
And the new mouse as well, which has come back from, I think it. How old did you say this was?
Well, the
Diamondback came out in like
Diamondback.
2004, 2005.
Yeah, an
the
absolute
original
classic. Yeah.
Yeah, well, the new version of Chroma is also 20 euros off. So you can follow that link there if you feel like purchasing one of those items.
Yep. Thank you for all our friends in Germany. So, let's talk about the first game we've got. I think that's appropriate at this juncture. We've done all our shout-outs and promotionals. Oh, highlights, of course.
Yes, we have.
This is my first. These are my first highlights. So how do we usually do those? I guess we're going to talk about a player. I imagine it's going to be Snacks.
The first player will be Snacks.
Look at that. See? Boom. I'm putting Reese in his place now. So yeah, let's talk about Snacks. Now, I thought he actually had a very poor day at the races yesterday by his high godlike standards. But just in general, the form he's been in since Dubai has been unbelievable. Like, hands down, pound for pound, one of the best players playing the game right now. So a few thoughts about him, if you would indulge me.
This is Dan's job.
Is it?
Is it my job?
Yeah.
Specifically me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
This is
What
where
about
I
Reese?
just
I think
lounge.
Reese should do it.
Oh, he's done it already.
There we go.
Right,
Well, we're
right.
just going to play some footage, which I believe we talk over. But he's just a really versatile player for me. What I like about him as well is he seems to have a very intelligent understanding of sort of how to utilize terrain, in particular smokes, to his advantage. This was one of the most insane aces I've seen. That one right there is absolutely disgusting. X-rated.
That's pretty brutal ace. A lot of people in a short space of time with a relatively small clip. Is it clip or magazine? Every time I say one of the wrong one, there's one person who always tweets me.
Well, like some retired colonel from like the 50s. Actually, you'll find that the magazine is what goes into the weapon. I think the clip is the thing that the bullets are in. So
every single time, I think it's a magazine.
I feel like I should know that, but I don't. Depressingly, so
You look like a guy that would know that.
Yeah.
Answer that. James knows about shotguns, but
But anyway, look, just on point about that ace that Snacks did there with the pistol. I'm not saying he's better than me or anything, because, that's up for debate. I've never played against him. But whenever I try and do that with one of those silenced USPs, I just run out of bullets straight away, and I might have got, one kill. So I don't know how he's done that.
Get Negev in there, mate.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
I need Negev in the pistol round.
Hey, if you get enough knives, you could afford one.
Vac.
Yeah, that.
Yep. I think we need to have a look at your account, James. But anyway, Snacks is an amazing player, and I'm sure he's going to play a big part today.
The guy that essentially Virtus.pro always put him in a position. Like, actually, what happened initially when he first joined the team was they would put him in spots like, oh, well, we've already got these cool spots for Pasha. He's going to go into middle or Mirage or something. We've got somebody else on stairs, Neo or something on stairs. Oh, you can just go and be a part of it. There's not much action there. Not much responsibility. But then they quickly found out that Snacks actually is kind of a clutch master. He's incredibly smart. So what they actually had was this phenomenal player that, sure, there's not much action there, but because he's not a super emotional player either, you got this, it's like the perfect mix. So what he can do then is always go for the retakes and be like incredibly successful in these like 1 versus 2s, 1 versus 3s, where he's coming in alone. And that was always, for me, like a really amazing thing about Snacks. You'd always find him in these positions on like Cash, he'd be like on the vents or something. He could retake A, Mirage, retake A from B and so on. So yeah, Snacks is... He's kind of like the Rain for the team in that sense, or he's just a bit of a flusher kind of player in that sense as well.
Yeah, just he's been incredibly consistent. Yesterday was kind of the most low key I've seen him for quite some time. He was brilliant out in Sevo as well, where it was just out in Ohio. So I think the other player that we're going to be highlighting today,
next player is Scream.
It's going to be Scream. Now, speaking of Sevo, I went in on Scream quite a bit here. I made a very strong statement saying that it's great being a highlight reel player, but consistency is actually the key to greatness, in my opinion. And I think Scream lacks it, and I don't think he's doing enough to justify his sizable price tag. What do you guys think of that? Am I out of order, James?
Well, there are two ways of looking at it. One way is his own play style, and if that's effective, and the other way is how he's being used in the team. Is he being put in a position to excel? That's the question, which I don't know how Dan feels about it, but like again, look at Fox, for example, where he was playing in a complete different role, and and now he's AWPing and just killing everyone. Although the quick comparison is Jacob going into G2, obviously, basically slotting into the same role, but maybe taking a more aggressive role, moving forward in situations where maybe Scream would move back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you, Richard, actually, because to me, the hardest thing when I was a professional player as well is consistency, because everyone can have a performance which is just out of this world. Because if you play these games like 10 to 20,000 hours, you're going to have like ridiculous performances. But it's all about finding the consistency, and there's a lot of players that would take their peak and like maybe take a chop like 10% of their peak level just to have always the top 80%, basically, just always be able to play a certain consistency. I always like characterize it as like the snow leopard, basically, because you get some people that are kind of like enlightened, they've like found the snow leopard, some players that somehow are just incredibly consistent, the star players, basically, that's what makes a star player. And you need one in a team like of this caliber. You need one, and Scream is in the position where he has the skill to do it, and I feel like Existence realizes this as well, and he's going to put him in a place to do that. But again, I think it's more down to Scream, I think, because I would be a bit surprised that Existence wouldn't be able to put the players in the right roles.
Yeah, I mean, for me, and this is, again, quite a leap of theory crafting, but I'll repeat what I said at SIVO, and that is, I think Scream, for that particular team where Titan are right now, they need an entry fragger. I think it has to be him. I think he's got the aim to do it. I think he proves that time and time again. And unfortunately, when he's in defensive positions, sure, when they all run at you one by one, he can go tap, 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 tap. Looks brilliant. We just saw a clip like that. We actually saw rare footage of him spraying there. He doesn't usually do that, and sometimes you are better off on eco rushes, for example, and whatnot, which he's particularly susceptible to because of his play style. I'd like to see him on the T side, which is where Titan are struggling right now, stepping up and becoming an entry fragger. I think that's a role that he has to assume.
Yeah, so let's have a look and see what kind of role he's put in today.
Yeah, well, yeah, we're definitely going to do that.
I mean, I don't know if Shox is still calling for the team, but maybe we'll see more free flow than Ridges.
Yeah, I guess we'll find out. It did actually work. I've just been told, obviously, in the first game we've got, which is going to be G2 Esports Virtus.pro, the knife has gone live, so I guess we'll start talking about that. I'm not going to do predictions, but you've just bet the farm on Virtus.pro. So
doesn't mean I think they're going to win.
Yeah, but what are they going to do differently today, then, James? What do you expect?
That is a good question. I don't know if they need to do. I mean, they're playing a different team now, for one. So G2 before were just kind of freeform, just doing whatever, basically, just random, as Makaleli would say himself. Whereas now they're actually a team. So I don't know that Virtus.pro necessarily need to do something different other than win duels, for example.
Yeah.
I think one thing they have a habit of doing sometimes is peaking one by one when they're on a CT side, and depending on the T side as well versus one opponent. So they need to try and avoid doing that, because obviously this is like team clutch, so that's not really going to work out for them if they do that. But other than that, they just need to play their game and see how it fares up. But what the key thing might be simply adjustment, essentially.
What do you think, Dan? What can Virtus.pro do differently today to affect a different outcome?
Well, I think one of the hard things about Cash, and one of the reasons why we saw, when it was King Gwyn, they had this standout performance on that map specifically, is because they don't even need to put like an enormous amount of preparation into Cash. I think the map just plays to their skill sets quite well, because on the CT side specifically, essentially with Cash, you can always force the aim battles, the aim duels, which is of course where they're going to be really strong, because their individual skills just out of this world. But now what I would see as problematic for VP is the fact that G2 have so much ridiculousness when it comes to just like entering, forcing the team into a bomb site, because of the likes of JKM and now AZ as well, and the clutch potential from those two players is actually ridiculous also. So if it does start to go well when they get the entry, you don't know when they're going to start racking up the frags, so it's quite dangerous in that sense. So Virtus.pro, I mean, I do see them as the underdog in this matchup, which is kind of weird to say, but Neo's absolutely going to have to be hitting his shots with the AWP. He was doing so all yesterday, and we're going to need to see Snax on the clutches. He needs to step up his game absolutely for them to win this, because they're going to lose bomb sites, and you need a player that's going to be able to do proper retakes like Snax.
Yeah, I the one point I was going to make is maybe in this particular matchup, Pasha might not want to do those aggressive pushes quite so much, because G2 seem to have a really good read on that, and it was giving them some numerical advantages from time to time, which Virtus.pro weren't able to come back from. So
I think one of the things about G2 also is that they focus a lot on stopping the opposing team from doing what they want to do. Yeah, they like to oppose their own and control the match. So if Virtus.pro can get past that, then I'd say they stand with a good chance, and then it can go either way.
I think on another map maybe. I just feel they've still got some gremlins in the machine to overcome on Cash.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's become a poor map fun.
Yeah, I think you made actually quite a good point, because if you look at the reason why they would decide to have Pasha in that position in the first place, is quite interesting, because essentially against G2, they don't want to play middle too much, because again, G2, all they have to do is just a simple execute with a coordinated push, and they can have all the aim battles, which is going to be a situation favoring gamers too. So Virtus.pro are playing on the sites, meaning that you've got one player who kind of has to be middle, but he can so easily be smoked off. I just have to finish my point here. We can come back to this later. We're into the pistol round already.
Yeah, enjoy the game, boys.